Good afternoon. I'm Debbie Civigliano, and I'm the founder of Bianca's Kids, a nonprofit organization based out of South Jersey that assists foster and needy children. My guest today is probably the most important person I've ever met in the 5 years of working with Bianca's Kids. And through this work, incredible relationships do happen. I chose this person because I felt that my relationship with him, which was established through the help that Bianca's Kids offered his children, was so incredibly special, and it was a small blessing that came out of a major tragedy. On October 20th, 2012, Anthony Pasquale lived every parent's nightmare when his 12-year-old daughter, Autumn Pasquale, went missing. Hello, my friend.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank
really
you for
important
having
to me. And Anthony, it's impossible for us to pretend that we don't know each other because we do. We've come to know each other very well through your experience, and I wanted to have you on my first show because I think that your experience and Autumn's story could be very helpful to people that are not only going through what you're going through, but also for others out there. Our hope is that we can inspire people to reach out to community members like yourself when tragedy strikes. Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's start with, why don't we talk a little bit about Autumn and tell us who Autumn was?
Autumn, she was a bright child, and she's funny, smart, intelligent, tomboy, beautiful, and she had a laughter that was contagious. She really could light up the room when she walks in.
And she was involved in a lot of different things. Was she athletic? What kind of kid was she?
She was a go-getter. She played softball. She played soccer. She was in the Gifted and Talented program. So she has goals, and she was a go-getter, and it was fun for her, and she enjoyed doing what she did.
And of course her BMX bike passion.
Absolutely. Yeah, the BMX was everything for her. It was for her birthday. It was an early gift, and she wanted that bike so bad, and it was when I gave her that bike and surprised her with it, it was speechless, and she couldn't say thank you enough, and how much she loved me, and then it made me really proud that I could do that for her.
So happy. So we should tell our viewers that Autumn went missing on Saturday, October 20th, and it was just about a week shy of her 13th birthday, correct?
Yes.
So the bike you gave her was an early birthday present. Autumn goes out on a Saturday afternoon, a beautiful fall day, something she had done, I assume, as a BMX bike lover very frequently.
They would go out riding with friends. She would meet up with friends, go riding for the day. And something she really enjoyed doing. And she was ride around the town. We have a park in town. So she would ride up to the park and, with her friends. Again, just something that she loved to do.
So on that Saturday afternoon when Autumn leaves your house on her bike, there's no sort of, odd feelings. There's no reason to worry. You live in a small sort of all-American town of Clayton, New Jersey. This is something she had done over and over again.
Yes.
And that was it.
Yes. It is a small town that everybody knows everybody in a sense, and I felt very safe. That's where I wanted my kids to grow up because that's where I grew up. And, I never thought anything would go wrong in Clayton.
So Autumn goes missing on a Saturday afternoon, and it's not until later that evening when she misses her curfew that you're trying to reach her. And at that point, when Autumn didn't come home and curfew passes, does panic set in at that point, or?
Panic set in right away,
Yeah.
and it was quick, and it was all the worries in the world, and all you wanted was your baby home, and be safe, and all I could think about is bringing her home somehow.
Right.
And it was dark. I lived the darkest hour. It was nightmares. All these thoughts in my head, what could have happened, and it became real for me. And when it did come real, I kind of lost it.
When exactly? I know that as a parent, obviously, and what people should know is that I live within 6 miles of you, and so do many of the board of directors of Bianca's Kids. So this happened in our neighborhood, essentially. We found out very quickly through social media that there was a 12-year-old girl from the next town over that was missing. I wanted to ask you, is it when you actually pick up the phone to call the police that, so I imagine as a parent that at that time it becomes real when you make the call.
Yes, no parents wants to call and report their own children missing.
Right.
It did become real because, now you're talking to a law enforcement,
Yeah.
giving out description, giving out where she could possibly be, what she was doing that day. So there was a lot of questions and answers, that I had to respond to the officer. But is you begin to, really begin to think that bottom line, all you really wanted was your kid home. You didn't care how she gets home, or why she went missing, or why she missed a curfew. You didn't care at that time. You just wanted her home, and that's what I wanted.
Right. And then obviously darkness falls. Saturday, Autumn doesn't come home. Sunday morning rolls in, and she's still not there. And
absolutely, I tell you what, I could barely sleep at all. I was restless. Walking around, pacing, wondering what else I can do. And as a father, you want to protect your kids, and you want to. My thing was, what else can I do? What else can I do?
Right.
And really, when you get to that point, there was nothing else I could do, just but wait and see what happens.
That's a perfect stopping point for us, because I want to talk to you about that and what help you can get through your community and what you did get through Bianca's Kids. Because we're going to take a quick break here. This episode of BK Talk is brought to you by Work Zone Contractors in Deptford, New Jersey. Work Zone Contractors, a business with a heart. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For independent living for seniors age 62 and over, People Inc. offers safe, maintenance-free apartments across Western New York. The affordable rent is income-based. For more information, call People Inc. Senior Living at 817-9090.
Looking for a cooking oil with a light flavor and reduced absorption so food preserves its natural flavor? One with a high smoke point for stir-frying, sautéing, grilling, and baking? Then choose all-natural Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil, imported from France. Grapes have been a key ingredient of the healthy Mediterranean diet for years. Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil is the chef's choice for high-heat cooking, grilling, stir-frying, sautéing, or even deep frying. And Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil is great for baking too, because its delicate taste does not overwhelm the flavor of cakes, cookies, and other favorite recipes. A key traditional ingredient of the Mediterranean, grapeseed oil is a rich source of vitamin E antioxidant and naturally gluten-free. Buy imported Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil today and find great recipes at Pompeian.com.
Wait, don't let this happen to you. At Jan Fence, we're family owned and operated for over 50 years, providing a wide choice of fencing. Why wait online at the big box store? Just call Jan Fence. Ask about our Easy Fence to Go products by Active Yards, the first truly do-it-yourself fence product.
At Jan Fence, we always do what we say. Come see us today.
Step into an extraordinary world that will excite your senses. Experience our delectable Mughlai cuisine and the magic of tandoori savoir-faire. Let our international award-winning team delight you with a taste of heaven. Enjoy our mouth-watering flavors and our unique flair for excellence. Savor the elegance of fine dining and catering. Shazam Restaurant. Indulge your taste buds.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sidney Cohen. I'm a psychologist in New Jersey. I'm the host of a show called Heading in the Right Direction, which will be appearing on internet TV station Radio Vision Network. It's a show that's going to cover a wide range of psychological subjects. I think you'll be very interested in the subjects. I'm also going to have the opportunity to send me emails, ask me some questions. I'll answer questions, and I very much look forward to you tuning in. I'm very excited to do this. Thank you.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Hi, we're back with BK Talk and my guest Anthony Pasquale. And when we left off, Anthony, we talked about the fact that Autumn had gone missing on Saturday afternoon. Sunday, she still hadn't returned home. You talked about how difficult it was when you realized how little control you had over the situation, how much help you needed, and how much little you could do yourself. It wasn't until the following Monday evening that Autumn's remains were found in a recycle bin. And for the community of Bianca's Kids, who happen to be in your same community, Autumn's story hit us in a way like no other story did. Many of our board of directors are parents. And what I wanted the audience to know today in interviewing you is that you don't need it to be you to offer help to a community member like yourself who's going through such an emotional trauma and nightmare. And our hope was that we could offer you help. When we last left off, you said what a terrible feeling it was to realize that, your child was missing, going through that difficult emotional roller coaster, finding out that she had been murdered, and then realizing the little you could do as one person to search for her, deal with what you were dealing with. At the time, you were a single dad raising 3 children, right?
Yes.
So you have your older son AJ, Autumn was your middle child, and you have Natalie, your youngest daughter.
Yes.
So my next question would be, Anthony, is what is it like being, one day a single dad of 3 children to the next day being the father of a missing, then murdered child and the subject of probably the highest profile case New Jersey had ever seen?
Well, after finding out Autumn was murdered, and looking at EJ and Natalie, I knew I still had to be a father. I knew I had to be their dad and be strong for them. And, as much as, I want to comfort them, let them know that everything's going to be okay. Things are going to turn out all right. Just, be strong. And, it was okay to cry. It was okay, to feel what they were feeling at the time. It was very difficult, and to move forward by myself, and with the 2 kids, I gained a lot of help from the community. I gained help from Bianca Kids, and it was not just the things that we received, but it was the emotional supports, the prayers, the thoughts, the love. Mm-hmm. And for Autumn and for us, and this could have been anybody's child.
Yeah.
So I felt overwhelmed, and and gaining those supports, and I can't even thank with their support is just amazingly overwhelmed, and I couldn't thank anybody enough for it.
So going through what you went through, I realized very quickly as an outsider looking in the very beginning that the community of Clayton really got it. I mean, they came out in droves to not only search for Autumn, but to really be a safety net for you and the kids. I mean, you were very close in the community before this happened, And it appeared, and it seems that it is true, that the members of your community, your clergy, the mayor, council, everybody just, they got it. They realized that it didn't have to be them, that Autumn was everybody's child, that now
Absolutely.
this could happen to anybody. And they sort of surrounded you with, like you said, an incredible amount of love and support, which I imagine is invaluable at a time like that.
Absolutely.
And it's got to be difficult. You know, you're a little different than the average dad. You know, we're the custodial parent of your children, so, you know, you acted as sort of mom and dad. And, you know, so the loss, I mean, obviously loss is loss, but the loss for you was, it just didn't get any bigger than that, is what I should say. You know, you have 3 kids one day, you have 2 another day. You're a grieving father, grieving the worst loss possible, and still having to bring your other 2 children through it. These are all the things that went through our minds as a board of a nonprofit that came from your community. And, you know, our goal was to help you and sort of put ourselves in the situation and say, what would I need? And although none of us wanted to put ourselves even mentally in your shoes, we sort of had to. And that's how we were able to provide you with sort of the help and some of the happy things that came along with it that we'll talk about later. I do want to add that your story and Autumn's case did reach national level. It actually went international. Autumn's story was the subject of an episode of Web of Lies on ID Discovery. Killer Kids also focused an episode on Autumn's story as well. Your situation raised a lot of conversations because Autumn was murdered by a teen, another child. So it was a subject that a lot of people felt needed to be brought to a platform on a national level. It was discussed on CNN, HLN, BBC over in London. And was it hard for you to, I imagine that the press coverage that you got, was it hard? Is the press sort of like a help in a lot of ways? Obviously bringing Autumn's picture, you know, having her on Nancy Grace and on HLN and things like that. I imagine that's an enormous help in social media, getting the word out that your child is missing. I mean, it spreads like wildfire, which is how, you know, we found out, which is a blessing. But I can't imagine having to go through that loss in front of television cameras and things. Was that hard for you?
It was hard, you know, because I'm grieving, and when you're in front of the camera, you know, I can only thank the social media, you know, bringing Autumn's story out and to bring awareness of what could happen, you know, and, you know, it wasn't your norm, another kid killing another kid. That's not the norm, and
Right.
I think that's why, you know, it got the national attention and so forth. But it was difficult, and, you know, definitely not used to it, and it was just, in the beginning it was very constant, and I just wanted to be left alone for a little bit,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
because, you know, I still have a family to raise, and, you know, they still got to go to school.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make sure they're okay, you know, and just make sure they were okay for everything that they needed.
Right. All right, let me break right there. We are going to cut to a commercial break, and we will be back with Anthony Pasquale after these messages.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Imagine the finest hand-selected USDA prime steak you'll ever have. The freshest line-caught seafood, our Wine Spectator award-winning wine list, and soul-satisfying desserts. Bring that together with the perfect date, the winning business deal, a memorable family celebration. Welcome to Rod's Steak and Seafood Grill in nearby Morristown, New Jersey. Bring your appetite and feed your passion.
Your credit score is yours, and at Experian Credit Expert, we want to help you really use it. With access to helpful Experian experts over the phone and online, we can help you use it to get a better idea of what info the banks have on you. Use it to get more choice of mortgages. Use it to make your money go further. Take the next step to improving your financial future with your free 30-day trial at Experian.co.uk.
Here at Freppi's Tex-Mex, you can definitely taste the freshness in our food. You should definitely come to Freppi's because it's a great place. You can bring your family, very kid-friendly. All my servers are amazing, friendly people. Everyone here is just happy to serve, and I think it shows. The thing that sets us apart is the quality and freshness of our food. And I think once you try it, you'd be coming back. I'm Joe DeSario, co-owner of Freppi's Tex-Mex in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Milan, host of Read All About It. I interview authors of all kinds about their journeys of writing and the struggles that they face. You can watch my show at 12 p.m. on Wednesdays. Tune in to Radio Vision Networks. We hope to see you then.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Hi, we're back on BK Talk with Anthony Pasquale, and wanted to talk a little bit now about how we met Anthony. As the executive director of Bianca's Kids, I founded this organization to help children and families who were struggling. And when we found out that your daughter Autumn was missing, and saw you on the news and realized that you were a community member of ours, we felt that there was no child or family that ever needed us more than you and Autumn. And so we sort of put it in gear and figured out how we would best serve you. And the first thing we did is our own husbands and sons were out looking for Autumn on the first night that she was missing, and the second day, obviously they're out there with their flashlights like the rest of the community in Clayton, New Jersey, and Williamstown. On that Monday, Autumn had not been found yet until later that night. That Monday, I went into the law firm that I was managing at the time, and I went to my boss, who you know very well now, Doug Long. And Doug is not only an attorney, but he is also a freeholder in New Jersey. He's very passionate about his community and the children of his community, so I knew that he would definitely be a good resource for me. Now, you and I had never met. I didn't know anybody from your family prior to this. Neither did any of my board of directors. And we didn't need to know you. As parents, we felt your pain. We knew that we would never want to be in that situation, and we sort of sat down as a board and said, okay, what are we going to do to help him? We started at my job. I spoke to Doug and I said, listen, there's a little girl missing a few miles from our home, and we need to do something about it. And that's when he said, listen, shut this place down, turn it into a volunteer bank, let's start there. That's what we did. We started to gather volunteers and sort of bank them as to hours that they could work and be out looking for Autumn. Doug and I also worked to raise additional money for the safe return of Autumn. And in just a couple of hours, we were able to raise another $15,000 in reward money, which we knew would be a help. Unfortunately, sometimes money is a big inspiration to people. And it was just about thinking about anything, that would help you. So here's where it gets tricky. When you're a community member, and this happens to somebody in your community, there's that feeling of being a little leery about talking to or approaching a family that's going through what you're going through. I mean, I know for me and many people, it was very difficult to meet you, to talk to you, because people don't know what to say, you know, or to even offer help at that time. What do you have to say about people that feel that way?
I understand, and if the shoe is on the other foot, I probably feel the same way,
Right.
not knowing what to say. But in my case is, you know, it's okay if you just came up to me and say, I'm sorry, is enough said, and you can get it just out of one word. And but it's hard. I've seen people, you know, look at me or, you know, not sure, and you know, they don't want to hurt, you know, put any more hurt than there already is.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah, because you realize you're going through it. You're, you know, on the news. You're dealing with, you know, local media, national media. We're seeing you on TV as total strangers and saying, gosh, I want him to know that we care, that we're here for him, that we'd like to offer any help that we could. But I don't want to bother him. And so what we did, and I think a lot of people did, is at the time Autumn went missing, and right after you found out of her murder, you put a family member in place that was a family representative. And so when we offered the reward money and we let people know that the volunteer bank was open, we got the message. Obviously, South Jersey is a small community. We were able to get the message to your family spokesperson that, you know, here we are. We have additional money for you to offer the prosecutor's office, or we are here. We've got hundreds of people that are ready to volunteer for you. So there's always ways to get, if you don't want to go directly to, let's say, the father of a missing person or the mother, there is a way to go to a close friend, a cousin, somewhere to sort of get that help in there when you need it, to know that it's available to you.
Absolutely.
And that's what we did. Unfortunately, as we stated before, Autumn's remains were found, and she was murdered by another teenager that resided in her community. Once we knew that Autumn passed away, our sort of gears shifted, and Bianca's Kids began to raise money for Autumn's memorial fund. We figured at that point, you know, you need money to bury. Not everybody is expecting their child to be murdered, right? You have an enormous, you know, this thing reached such an enormous level. You had a big funeral you had to throw now. Instead of sort of celebrating Autumn's birthday, you're, you know, planning a funeral and all those expenses. And so we raised, you know, several $1,000s for the memorial fund. And then it was 2 weeks after that someone came up to my office and said, there's somebody here to see you. And I said, okay, and who is it? And she said, I think it's Anthony Pasquale. I said, Anthony Pasquale, the father of Autumn Pasquale. Oh, Anthony. It was, I don't often meet a lot of the people that I help. And I don't think I ever told you, but I never wanted to meet you. I was so terrified. And I was trembling, like I wanted to fake my own heart attack, because I didn't want to come downstairs and have to face you. I had no idea what to say. You were still in the raw, you know, stages of, and we all were. All of South Jersey was mourning Autumn's death and the realization of what happened. So let's leave it there, and then we'll talk about our fateful meeting and the meeting that changed my life forever. And we'll be back. We're hoping that you'll join us next week for the second part of my interview with Anthony Pasquale. We have a lot to talk about, my friend, and I think that you guys will be real interested in finding out what Bianca's Kids did for Anthony and how, through this tragedy, I now have a new brother. Again, this episode of BK Talk was brought to you by Work Zone Contractors in Deptford, New Jersey. Thank you, everybody. Hope to see you next week.